You've built a high-tech cage out of 47 open browser tabs and a 5-year plan that looks more like a doctrinal dissertation than a career path. You are currently operating like a Ferrari engine attached to a tricycle work ethic, revving your engine in neutral while watching less capable people drive past you into the life you actually wanted. The truth is that your obsession with trying is the very thing preventing you from becoming. We have been conditioned to believe that if we just tighten the screws on our schedules, if we just optimize one more app or color code one more calendar, the breakthrough will finally arrive. But for the high performer, busy isn't a badge of honor. It's an identity crisis. It is a psychological hiding spot where we use research and analysis to protect ourselves from the terrifying risk of actually shipping something imperfect. When you are trying this hard, you aren't working. You're performing a role to satisfy an imaginary jury.
To reach peak performance, you have to become a ghost to your own ego, a state where the work happens through you because you finally stopped getting in its way.
For the intelligent mind, the biggest obstacle to success is often the intelligence itself. We suffer from the knowledge curse, where we see so many branching paths and potential failures that we end up making no choice at all. We've turned simple tasks into complex simulations, researching the perfect platform for 6 months before writing a single word. This isn't high standards, it's fear wearing a productivity mask. Every minute spent on an optimization opportunity is actually a minute spent avoiding the discomfort of being a beginner. We stay in our comfort zones because struggling would suggest we aren't as smart as everyone said we were in the gifted program. To the high-performance ghost, talent is just a multiplier, but effort is the exponential factor. If you want to break out of the perfection prison, you have to realize that done beats perfect every single time, because done actually opens the doors that polishing keeps locked. The most common mistake in aggressive scheduling is treating your evening like a series of numbers on a clock, rather than a fluctuating state of energy. We try to force deep work when our decision-making muscles are literally exhausted from a day of corporate firefighting. This is why your rigid routines fail. You are fighting your body's wisdom instead of honoring it. True peak performance requires a shutdown ritual, a psychological trigger that tells your brain the work mode is officially off. Instead of one giant chunk of free time that feels overwhelming, the ghost uses a 90-minute block system. This includes a mandatory recovery block where you do absolutely nothing productive. Why? Because your brain has a natural energy curve. It dips between 5 and 7 p.m. and rises again between 7 and 9 p.m. If you try to grind through that dip, you aren't being disciplined, you're being inefficient. The most productive thing you can do during a creative fallow period is to let the field rest so it can prepare for the next harvest. When you're trying too hard, every setback feels like a catastrophic failure. You get criticized in a meeting and your brain cues the tragic music, convinced your career is over. This is where the high-performance ghost uses neuroscience to maintain flow. No emotion, not even bone-crushing anxiety, lasts longer than 90 seconds unless you choose to feed it with your thoughts. The actual chemical flood in your body is flushed out in a minute and a half. The reason you stay stressed for 3 hours is that you're re-triggering the circuit with the stories you tell yourself. To stay in flow, you must practice pattern interruption. When you feel that heat in your face, don't react. Just count to 90 and breathe. You are not at the mercy of the storm. You are just the person watching the weather pass through. By using third-person self-talk, addressing yourself by name, you create the psychological distance needed to advise yourself like a rational friend, rather than an emotional victim. The smartest people often have the most cluttered environments because they believe their IQ can compensate for a lack of systems. But IQ only predicts a small fraction of success. Emotional intelligence and consistent systems are the hard currency of the real world. Complexity is the enemy of execution. If you want to actually start that business or write that book, you need to design your environment so success is the default. This means removing every barrier between you and the doing. Don't join another forum or buy another course. Open a document, type one sentence, and save it. That is the system. It's embarrassingly basic, but while you're trying to build a 10-step framework, the ghost has already shipped their first draft. Use micro-habit stacking, tiny actions that take less than 30 seconds to send signals to your brain that the transformation has begun. A keystone habit, like simply making a cup of tea, can act as the first domino that makes the rest of your evening flow naturally, without the need for white-knuckled willpower. Finally, we have to stop trying to avoid stress and start using it as a stimulus for growth. This is anti-fragility, the property of systems that actually get stronger when they are shocked. If you avoid every difficult conversation and every uncomfortable task, you aren't protecting yourself. You're making yourself fragile. The high-performance ghost operates on the Stockdale Paradox. You must maintain unwavering faith that you will prevail in the end, while simultaneously having the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, even if that reality is that you've been wasting your potential for years. Stop being a psychic trying to predict when everything will be fixed, and start being a practitioner of resilience. Your goal isn't to avoid the storm, it's to build a system that works even when the parts are under extreme stress.
The breakthrough you're looking for isn't hidden in a more complex schedule. It's waiting on the other side of your decision to stop trying to be the smartest person in the room and start being the person who actually finishes the work. Your potential is a starting point, not a destination. It was meant to be stretched, not preserved in a draft folder. If this perspective shifted something for you, hit the subscribe button and join our community of intentional high performers.